What's up, everybody? I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that 2026 will be here any day now. It might have even started. The bad news is that it's starting off with January. Boo, January. But hey, at least some new games are coming out for you to spend your hard-earned money and or recently received gift cards on. Here are January 2026's biggest game releases. Before we get started, I say this every month, but just in case you're new here, we do our very best to make these videos accurate and up to date, but release dates do change last minute. Games sometimes just show up out of nowhere, and every once in a while, we make a mistake because we're only human beings. So for best results, always check your local listings, or just scroll down and see what people are yelling at us for in the comments. On January 5th, DuneCrawl comes to PC, which is a top-down co-op action adventure where you and up to 3 friends play as adorable little critters as they explore an open world on board a large crab robot thing. If you'd prefer to do some co-op exploration from a first-person perspective in a more realistic deep space setting with a side of survival and crafting, there is also StarRupture on PC a day later. On January 13th, our first Japanese game with a comically long title of the year hits Switch, and it's a visual novel called Temirana, the Lucky Princess, and the Tragic Knights. And with 5 handsome tragic knights to choose from, Temirana is certainly one lucky princess. On the 14th, there's Streetdog BMX, which clearly involves streets and BMX bikes, but I don't see any dogs. But hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Maybe they'll add dogs later on. That one's on PC for now. Still that day, there's The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon, which manages to speedrun 5 SEO-friendly video game title words, but in all fairness, the Legend of Heroes series has been doing this longer than we've had search engines, kicking off way back in 1989 with Dragon Slayer, The Legend of Heroes, and spinning off into the Trails subseries in 2004 with The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. This latest one is a follow-up to The Legend of Heroes Trails in Daybreak 2, and while the naming convention is a little confusing, if you keep following a trail towards Daybreak long enough, you will eventually wind up beyond the horizon. So, scientifically, checks out. That one's coming to both PlayStations, both Switches, and several trillion variations of compatible personal computers. Speaking of Horizons, a day later, Animal Crossing New Horizons gets even more New Horizons by way of a free update that adds a bunch of new features, new story content. You'll be helping manage a hotel for Cap'n and his revolting family, and also there'll be some quality of life tweaks like a bigger inventory for you to store more rocks and stuff in. But wait, there's even more than that. This day also sees the release of the enhanced Switch 2 version, which adds a bunch of better graphics and new features like webcam support that takes advantage of the Switch 2's webcam that some people bought. Odds are, if you give a hoot about Animal Crossing, you've already got a copy of this game. And the good news is it'll only cost you $4.99 to upgrade for the Switch 2 version. It'd be nice if the upgrade was free, but $5 is a hell of a lot cheaper than some of Nintendo's previous upgrade packs, so I'll take it. I won't personally take it because this game gave me an existential crisis during lockdown after I realized how much actual yard work and chores I wasn't doing because I was doing yard work and chores on a virtual island, but you guys have fun with your virtual islands, and I mean that. Speaking of existential crises, on the 16th there's BrokenLore Unfollow, a first-person psychological horror game where you play as a teen who's been cyberbullied so badly it's manifested as a surreal nightmare hellscape filled with supernatural poltergeists and things like that. That one's on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. On January 20th, there's Mio, Memories in Orbit, a gorgeous hand-drawn Metroidvania that's coming to PC, all the newer consoles, and the OG Switch. On the 21st, there's LORT on PC, an unfortunately named game because if you try to Google it, just autocorrects to LOTR and pulls up a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff. LORT, on the other hand, is a 1 to 8 player co-op action roguelite that seems to have a considerably sillier sense of humor than that stuffy old Johnny Ronnie Rule Tolkien. Though, fun fact, Tom Bombadil, that character who is not in the movies but takes up way too much of the first book, was actually inspired by this doll that Tolkien's son kept flushing down the toilet. That's a true story. Tom Bombadil, named after a toilet puppet. Look it up.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
On January 22nd, there's Arknight's Endfield, a free-to-play action RPG follow-up to the popular 2019 tower defense game. That one is coming to mobile, PC, and PS5. I don't actually know if that first game was popular, but it's getting a sequel, so that means it probably is. Dynasty Warriors Origins gets a major update on the 22nd with the Visions of 4 Heroes expansion, which is coming to all the platforms the game is already on, as well as Switch 2, where the full game is dropping that very same day as well. Hey, I got a great idea for another Nintendo Muso game. Dynasty Warriors! Just make Mario and friends beat up a bunch of Wario clones. I'm sorry, is that a stupid idea for a video game? Well, so was a tactical strategy game where Mario and friends fought raving rabbids with guns, and that one worked out well enough to get a sequel. You know what else is a stupid thing to fight? A giant house. close. But Final Fantasy VII pulled it off, and then somehow pulled it off again even better in FF7 Remake, and still on the 22nd, Xbox Series and Switch 2 owners can experience one of the most absurd boss fights of all time when they battle the Hell House in FF7 Remake Intergrade. And if they want to play by house rules, there's a new streamlined mode that'll max out your whole party's stats and make you do ridiculous damage, so you don't have to worry too much about fighting, and instead you can focus on the important stuff in the video game, which is making all of the pretty people with the nice hair collect pretty dresses and flirt with each other. I am fresh out of jokes and bad puns about the Roman Empire after all the blurbs I had to write last year for Anno 117 Pax Romana, but you can carpe the hell out of the diem and veni vidi vici to your heart's content in Nova Roma, a low-poly Roman city builder from the studio behind Kingdoms and Castles that hits PC on the 22nd. Still on that day for MetaQuest is Orcs Must Die by the Blade, which reinvents the hit tower defense experience as a virtual reality one, and then there's the cute cartoony turn-based RPG Hermit and Pig, which is coming to PC. Finally on the 22nd, the modern indie cult classic Cult of the Lamb gets a major DLC expansion with Woolhaven, which adds new characters, dungeons, and will have you rebuilding an entire town. No big deal. That's supposed to be pretty huge, almost as big as the base game, and it'll be on everything that Cult of the Lamb is already out for. On the 23rd, Escape from Ever After is another turn-based RPG that takes place in a storybook setting and draws heavily from Paper Mario and will be playable on basically everything. Also that day, the 4-player RPG brawler Banquet for Fools leaves early access on PC. On the 26th, Highguard drops for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. This is the PvP multiplayer game from a bunch of ex-Respawn devs who worked on Apex Legends and Titanfall, and this one lets you shoot stuff and run around like you can in those games, but in this one, it's in a fantasy setting and you could ride on a bear. Speaking of bears, a day later, the Urso-centric bullet hell roguelite Rightfully Beary Arms, which has been in early access since 2023, gets a full release on PC and will make its way to Xbox Series as well. A day after that, which is the 28th, PC players can get the rhythm-based RPG Steel Century Groove, which involves competitive mech dance-offs. Still that day on PC, plus mobile and PS5 is the 7 Deadly Sins Origins, the open-world action RPG based on the hit anime series, which is based on the hit timeless list of bad human qualities: grumpiness, sleepiness, bashfulness, happiness, dopiness, sneezing, or being a doctor. Actually, that's dwarves, not sins. I got that completely backwards. On the 29th, the comic book-inspired isometric crafting-based survival horror I Hate This Place comes to Xbox Series, PS5, and PC. A place that some people might hate is hanging off the side of the cliff, but other people are into that, and those people might enjoy Cairn, a colorful mountain climbing game on PC and PS5, which is out that day as well. January 30th is a good day for vampire games. First, there's Code Vein 2, the post-apocalyptic anime Souls-like. If you didn't play the first one, rest assured this is a new story and a fresh jumping on point. And if you did play the first one, rest assured you can still visit the bathhouse with your favorite scantily clad NPCs. That one's on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. If you want a more conventional Western sanguinarian simulator, Vampire's Bloodlord Rising hits early access on PC, and that'll have you exploring a spooky open world, sucking up to the locals, attracting some thralls, and doing a fair amount of interior decoration at your cool castle. So I suppose you could potentially put in a bathhouse. I don't know if you can visit it with scantily clad NPCs, but it's in early access still, so I guess anything is possible. And there you have it, a look ahead at the first games of 2026. It's going to be a good year for video games. If you'd like to get a glimpse at what is in store for the other 11 months of the year that we currently know about, games I mean, not months. We know how many months there are. We counted. We got a calendar. We looked at all the pages in there. Some of them had pictures of cats on them. Anyway, we made a video taking a look ahead at the biggest upcoming games of 2026 as a whole. It's a long video. There are a lot of games I'm excited for. A lot of them. There's some cool games in there. So check that video out. And as always, a huge thank you to Amanda Medina, Chris Del Padre, and Logan Plant for helping these videos come together. I love you all dearly. It's so much fun making these videos with you. And the biggest thanks of all to everybody who watches these videos. Thank you so much for all your fun comments. Leave some more. Let us know what you're playing, what we forgot, and why it's worth checking out. And I will see you back here in a few weeks when we talk about International Leon S. Kennedy Appreciation Month, aka February. See you then.